The audio recording posted by TMZ is truly offensive and disturbing, and we intend to get to the bottom of it as quickly as possible. I personally think the situation is most unfair to the Clippers players and coaches who have to deal with this distraction in the middle of their own highly competitive playoff series. And in fact, I spoke to both Doc Rivers and Chris Paul earlier today to share those sentiments with them.
All right, that was the new NBA commissioner, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Silver, speaking last night at a press conference where he addressed the remarks made by the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, Donald Sterling. Kind of ironic in a silly sort of way, Sterling, Silver. I mean, they're the two now involved in this. Of course, Silver involved in determining the fate of Sterling. And he went on to say this, did the NBA commissioner. Watch.
Let me just add that all members of the NBA family should be afforded due process and a fair opportunity to present their side of any controversy, which is why I'm not yet prepared to discuss any potential sanctions against Donald Sterling. We will, however, move extraordinarily quickly in our investigation.
All right, now that investigation, I don't know how quickly they're going to move, but there will be some kind of announcement or some kind of comment, at least from the NBA tomorrow. Now, the Clippers' next playoff game is, I believe, tomorrow at home. You may have noted that as a form of protest, if we could put up 43, the Clippers yesterday in Golden State before their playoff game, when they came out to warm up in their practice uniforms, they turned the jersey inside out. If we could, there it is, and they turned it up inside out to keep the logo from being seen. That was their form of protest. I believe they also wore black armbands. Now, what is this all about? Well, let's, as we get ready to introduce George Vecsey, sports columnist for the New York Times, author of more than a dozen books, and one coming out as well. I want you to listen a little bit to, this was a private conversation, or it was supposed to be, between the owner of the Clippers and his girlfriend, and here's some of what was said.
There's no negativity. I love everybody. I'm just saying, in your lousy Instagrams, you don't have to have yourself with walking with black people.
All right, and one more. This is TMZ. Got a hold of this private conversation, which I believe was taped illegally, and TMZ then ran with it. And here's more of what Donald Sterling and his girlfriend had to say.
And I took a picture with someone I admired.
Good.
And he happens to be black, and I'm sorry.
I think it's nice that you admire him. I know him well, and he should be admired. And I'm just saying that it's too bad you can't admire him privately. And during your entire life, your whole life, admire him. Bring him here, feed him, him. I don't care. You can do anything. But don't put him on this event for the world has to see, so they have to call me. And don't bring him into my games, okay?
All right. Joining us now is George Vecsey. Hello, George.
Hey, how are you? First of all, I need to correct something. I think I heard you say Pulitzer Prize winner. I am not, and I appreciate the vote of confidence.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. Yeah,
no,
I think I said that in the introduction.
I know people that say they are and they're not. So
well, you know, Governor Richards, the former governor of New Mexico and U.S. ambassador to the UN, said that he was drafted by the Dodgers and he made a mistake. Richard Blumenthal said that he fought in Vietnam and he made a mistake. There
you go. I say I once scored a basket off an all-city basketball player, and, you know, maybe I didn't, maybe I didn't. But,
all right, so what do you make of what's going on, the NBA investigating whether or not it was Donald Sterling who made racist comments, and the Clippers say that the voice on the tape, that's kind of their language, the voice on the tape does not reflect the views and opinions of Donald Sterling. You have the coach of the Clippers, Doc Rivers, saying that this is a defining moment for the NBA. You have Larry Johnson, the former Knicks player, who says the players in the league should start their own black-only league? What's going on here?
Well, let's discard some of that as rhetoric and work backwards to it makes my skin crawl to hear that voice. I haven't been too plugged into the media. I've been reading stuff, but to hear that voice, to hear that conversation, private between two people who know each other, and the patronizing air, the racist attitude. I mean, he's more of a creep when you hear it than when you read it. So let's say that. And working backwards, what the league will do about it, they're doing something tomorrow. I can only assume that they're going to have some kind of action tomorrow, some kind of suspension. In the longer run, what can they do about an owner? Other leagues have found ways to quiet, or get rid of the Marge Schott, to quiet the Ted Stepien. There are ways. I think that David Stern, who it was vital to him to open up the league to make it reflect the players and the fans. He made it he didn't make it, but it became a more comfortable league for blacks when David Stern took over. I doubt that he ever shielded the guy or hid him from trouble. There are probably lots of lawyers like Stern saying, you can't get rid of an owner that easily. But this is a different case. And if you can't get rid of an owner for reflecting those views in a sport that he is allowed to buy into, who can you get rid of?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't know what the legalities are. Of course, you have a right to free speech, but this is a club, and this is a private league, and this isn't, someone just saying, this isn't just someone expressing their views and saying, I could say what I want, because, as you said, there have been other leagues and other examples of owners being quieted or having to sell and suspended, such as George Steinbrenner, not only for the illegal campaign contributions to Nixon, but also for the Howie Spiro affair where the commissioner suspended him. So I don't know what the legalities are. Can you make him sell? Can you fine him to death? I don't know.
You certainly, the baseball commissioner told Steinbrenner to go away and not to run the club, and it was the best thing that ever happened to the Yankees, because while the guy was truly away, Gene Michael was making the calls on personnel,
and it built the future.
And they kept all those core 4 or 5 or 6 guys that made them for now almost 2 decades, and so it worked out for them. Lucky Yankees, as we Brooklyn Dodger fans used to say. But with the Clippers, do I think that Adam Silver has the legal right to put the clamps on Sterling? Can he make him sell? Can he give him time? Can he make him go away, not come around, not be part of the team? I suspect so. Can he criticize him in the strongest way possible? Once he's ascertained that really is his voice, and let's assume that it is, I think we all are, that he can do probably a lot of things. I don't think it's so bad to wait from before the weekend to after the weekend to make a judgment. You'd want anybody to do that, because we've all seen what happens. I give you the word, Duke lacrosse. What happens when people run off with their heads cut off before really knowing the facts on it.
Right. And he did say he wanted to see what context it was in. I don't know, I don't know what the context could be, but that's what the commissioner said. Now let me play devil's advocate here. Again, no way, shape, or form defending what Sterling said. And by the way, it is kind of funny, isn't it? Sterling Silver.
Exactly.
I think I'm getting confused in my mind. But we have Chris Paul, who's one of the stars of the Clippers, who was threatening to leave the team, reportedly, according to a piece in the New York Post that I have in my hand that dates back to 5/11 of last year, that he wanted an African-American coach. And they hired him. Sterling went and hired him, an African-American coach. In fact, traded for an African-American coach. It was a whole big deal.
Who was the coach before that?
You know what? I couldn't tell you that. I don't know if it was or if he left. But he wanted. Apparently, I'll just say Chris Paul's preference is to stay with the Clippers, but he wants them to hire an African-American coach, according to multiple league sources. So that's what was reported. Whether or not that's true. You also have recently reported Jay-Z, who was an owner of the minority owner of the Nets, who his lyrics, hoes and bees and all that kind of stuff. There's a picture that we should have up of Jay-Z, which if we could find it, guys, where he has a medallion on his neck, which is it's the 5% Nation medallion. and they believe blacks are superior to whites, whites are the devils. And he was asked again in the New York Post a few weeks ago, do you buy into all that? Do you believe this stuff? And he said, some of it. And Carmelo Anthony reportedly also wears that medallion. I mean, so, and Bill Maher, another league, Bill Maher is a minority owner of the Mets. He's called Republican women like Sarah Palin the C word. I mean, so again, I think there is not consistency, and I think if you're going to indict one, you need to be a little bit consistent.
Well, I can't address all of that. I didn't know about the Chris Paul thing. I would say that any organization could tell somebody, we'll decide, we'll get you a good coach. And you know, there are so many in this day and age. There are so many good coaches, black coaches, people who should be coaching, and you know, look who they got. So you know, if they put somebody in there, somebody unqualified, they got Doc Rivers, and I would say case closed on that one. Jay-Z, I can't argue. Not a big Bill Maher fan. Just to answer your question, to dignify your point with it. You know, so and minority owner of the Mets. No comment.
Right.
But let's work backwards and say, here you have a guy who's been known for decades to be just a major league creep.
Absolutely.
That's Donald Sterling.
The Justice Department.
I've known it,
yeah.
and I'm not an insider. I'm
right.
not an NBA.
Well, the Justice Department filed suit against him for nothing to do with basketball. It was about bias in his renting of apartments in his housing developments or whatever. So yeah, and he settled those out of court. But here's another thing, and explain this to me. The NAACP next week was scheduled to give him, Donald Sterling, not his first Lifetime Achievement Award, but his second Lifetime Achievement Award. They canceled that today, I believe, or at least the LA chapter said it had to be canceled. I don't know if they were the ones in charge of canceling it, but how is that possible?
Well, I think 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards from the same organization is pretty cool anyway.
No, but I mean, how would they end up with his history before this weekend? How would they give it to him anyway?
I can't answer that. I mean, knowing what you know, is it about money? Is it is it for a donation? I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
And I would say sometimes you're just stuck with a bad situation, and the only way they could handle it is to say no way, no how is that happening, and they're reacting to current events.
So George, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow if the NBA announces it? It's going to obviously be before the game. We got about a minute left. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, I think that at very least, I would expect let's assume that everything we think is true is true. At very least, the NBA has got to say the man is suspended as the acting owner. He still owns the team, but we are telling him to find a way to get out of this business. We don't want him, and he must go away. He will go away in an orderly process, but for the moment, he cannot come near, be identified with, be listed as. We have the right, our lawyers have looked into it, and he's got to go away even before he takes care of selling the team.
And irony of ironies, I heard a report today, again, so many reports, that Magic Johnson, who was a subject here in this conversation, might be interested in buying the Clippers.
Right, that's an interesting, I did hear that somewhere, and if Magic is interested in buying a team, he's not going to get the Lakers. So would he be interested in buying the rival team in the town that he made his?
Yeah.
You'd like to think, is he doing this? No, because he's involved in this whole thing.
George, appreciate it as always, my friend. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks a lot, man.
George Vecsey, ladies and gentlemen, New York Times, Steve Malzberg Show. We're coming back.